I have two things. The first one, so far, what is the best anime convention dance you've ever been to?
That's really tough because it's not happened yet. It's about to happen in October. I'm proud of all of my dances, especially the ones that I help organize, because in many cases they're DJs that the guys that I work with, some of the DJs I work with are like my best friends. Some of them I would walk in front of a bullet for. They're just super great guys, and I have real weird requirements. You have to not only be super talented, but you can't have any ego if you want to work with me or my crew. So like, as a result, I work with a ton of really super nice guys. Probably my biggest, like my most proud, like if I had a super proud moment, well, this year's Anime Boston was a ridiculous success, and it was my first year in charge of that, and like, I love posting that picture of the monster room dance, because at the same time, there's this little happy hardcore DJ that was like bagging on me on his Facebook. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Greg Ayres. I talk into his voice synthesizer. Yeah, I have a chaos band." And I just took a picture from the balcony of the 4,000 people jamming, and I was like, "Put that in your chaos pad. Like, have fun playing to 200 people." Like, but that said, my most proud moment. There's this little kid that wrote to me, and I'm gonna make him sound like a little dolt, and he's not. He's really cool. But I got a letter from a kid that was like, "Hey, you were the first DJ at the first rave I ever went to, and I've seen a lot of really important DJs play, and you're still always my favorite. You're always standing on things and making sure the crowd is into what you're doing. And just really, I one day hope that I can be a DJ like you. And I was wondering if I got to the dance early enough at OhioCon this year, could I just talk to your guys and see what equipment y'all use?" Well, okay, this is where MySpace is a big joke. You know, you can put your age as anything on MySpace. Well, it said this guy was 19, so I was like, "Hey, do you want to be our gopher? We don't have anybody to run cables and get us drinks and stuff like that." Not knowing this kid was 15 years old. So like, this kid shows up to get his badge, and he's not even a minor. He's 15, he's not even 16. And I'm like, "Oh God, you can't be on the stage. You can't be on the stage where all the liquor and all this whatnot is." But he was our gopher. He ran cables for us, and he ran interference when we had a problem with security, and we had a medical emergency, and he was, acting as the guy holding the door for the ambulance people and all that. And so after the show, like, I made sure he got everybody's contact information. Anyway, for the next year, he worked his buns off being a DJ. And like, the first demo he sent me was like shoes in a dryer. It was the worst demo I've ever heard. But he had good choices of music. And the coolest thing about this kid is, on top of really being willing to work hard, he was also super ready for criticism. His first letter to me after that awful demo was, "All right, dude, tell me some good things and tell me some bad things." So like, he left the door open for me to be honest. I was like, "Well, dude, I like some of your choices, but your mixing is awful." I was like, and then once his mixing got better, I was like, "Okay, now try letting these songs sit on top of each other for a long time." And then we started talking about phrasing. Long story short, within a year's time, the next year he was on stage with us, and he was actually playing a show with us in like 1 year's time. And like, that's kind of why I love Beck. Like, I believe that if you really are passionate about something and you believe in something and try and work and are not afraid to like, get some help and be good, that you can do whatever you want to do. Sadly enough, he was only 16 and his ego went, and it took him another year to realize that he still had a long way to go. And now, like, and I kind of smacked him around during that time period. I'm like, "You're not cute. You're not supposed to take your shirt off on stage. Like, like, don't be a dink." And now he's like the most hardworking DJ I know. And like, when all the other DJs are engaged in drama and being stupid and backstabbing, he's always like, "So what do y'all need? What do y'all need help doing?" He's always like, he makes me so proud that he's a kid that I helped, because anybody that ever works with him is super lucky. His name is Fred Dunkowitz. We call him Freddie D. Is super, super sick little kid. The other thing is, when he first started working with us, he was this little bitty kid. He's a big BMX guy, and now he looks like this giant, like, crazy. He looks like he could be on an Aeropostale ad, like, way too built. He looks like he doesn't do any of the things that I do, because he's, like, built. So now the girls go bananas. But on top of that, because he's like all buff and crazy looking and all, because he already went through his big ego thing, that doesn't get to him. He doesn't like, "Oh, look at me, look at me." He's not like that. And so all of the shows are really good. The other DJ that I just killed to work with, if you've talked to me within the last year, you've heard me rave about this girl named DJ Jiminy Cricket. She's going to be playing a party with me in October, and it's just going to be stupid. It's going to be unbelievable. She's the sickest DJ I've ever seen in my life. She scratches under her leg. She'll put her foot up on the table and scratch under her leg, and then you turn around later and she's scratching behind her back, and I'm like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? And like, on top of that, she's sick skilled. Like, she'll burn through 15 records in about 12 minutes. And you're just like, and vinyl, by the way. Vinyl, like, super skilled. So I'm proud of all those shows, but like, I'm looking forward to playing with Cricket most, and I always look forward to playing with Freddie, because he's my boy. In fact, we're going to be playing in Detroit in about 3 weeks from now, and he's all super excited about it, because it's like a it doesn't matter party. We're playing for like 200 people. And I was like, hey, do you want to play this tiny party with me in Detroit? He's like, I would totally love it. I was like, no pressure. We can play whatever the hell we want. We're just there having fun. He's like, I could really use a no pressure gig. So like, I'm really looking forward to just playing a stupid, silly party where we just play dumb stuff all night. And I'm really looking forward to tonight because there's some stupid stuff that I'm going to drop on you, and I can't wait. And I don't want to talk about too much of it because I want some of it to be a surprise, and it's killing me. But yeah, I got some really dumb stuff for tonight. So. And that's it.
Not dumb, dumb is cool.
Dumb is in like stupid, like awesome, crazy, stupid, yeah. That's DJ talk, I'm sorry. Like, my friends give me a hard time, they're like, oh, is it dope too? I'm like, yeah, it's totally dope. They're like, what else is it? Is it slamming? Is it a banger? Like, my friends that are not DJs make fun of me and all my DJ friends because we have our own language too, so. But yeah, that's it. Like, definitely. If you're in anywhere near Texas in October, you can come see the little bug. She's amazing. But.
And then the second thing is, can you do a line by Calories?
Calories' voice is just my real voice. It's just me being super sassy and super cynical. It's like, way to go, commoner. Like, that's just my real voice. Like, it really is. It's just me being a little prissy. What? Say what?
Say a line for.
I did it. You said way to go, commoner.
Line, please.
Oh, I don't memorize my lines. Luckily, they're on a piece of paper in front of me. I don't have to memorize
I
any of
memorized
them.
the line.
But you've memorized that. I don't know it. I'm not Dance Monkey Dance. I am not going to do this. I've already done one. Like, it's seriously, it's really hard to. And like, if I do it, like, it's like the guys in Monty Python all got together before they all started dropping dead. They all, no, I mean, like, recently the two of them have died. But before they did this reunion thing where they went on the internet and they took this test, how well do you know your Python? And they failed. They totally failed. All of them in the same room, and they totally effing failed. It's so funny. Because I don't watch, like, if there's any show I've watched a bunch of times, it's either Samurai 7 or Beck. Those are the only two shows that, well, I take it back. I've watched Speedcrafter 3 times now, so, and Chrono Crusade I've seen like a bunch of times, but it's always because it's with some friend that's never seen it, and that's really one of my favorite shows of all time. But, with a show like Oron, there's a lot of reasons why I won't watch it often, but I enjoyed it. I watched it one time all the way through, and the next time I watch it, I just got it on Blu-ray. I'm going to watch it again on Blu-ray, and it's funny because when you watch a show you did for DVD come out on Blu-ray, sometimes the sync is not as tight because it's digital video, it's super crisp. But, so I haven't seen Oron in probably like a year, maybe. I haven't seen it in that long. So, things that are really fresh in your memory, I'm like, no, is that when Killia's family does, no, wait, is that when Honey's brother, is that the newspaper? Like, it all runs together to me after a while. So there's some shows, very few shows I can name, like the actual episode number and whatnot. I will tell you this, if you are brave enough, and I'm going to tell you, I'll warn you now, if you get Dance and the Vampire Bunned, I'll tell you why this show's controversial, and I don't have to really say much. You'll be able to understand this. 5,000-year-old female vampire takes over a 9-year-old girl's body. I'll just leave it there. I'll just leave it there. And I think from a means of telling a story, it's a really weird thing to try to put your head around. Because, like, is it an old woman? Is it this creepy old mean vampire? Is it a little girl? To me, the little girl was dead the minute she took her body or whatever. But the one thing about that show, I can say that it's not going to give, I can tell you what happens to my character, and it's not going to give anything away. But if you're brave enough to fight your way through that, know that you won't see much of me. And it's one of those characters that, like, that's one of the few shows that I know I appear in episode 6, and by episode 9, something horrible has happened. And, like, very few shows do I have that memory of, like, actual, you know, episode number, like episode number 6 or whatever. In fact, when I talked about it for the first time at Anime North, or no, at Anime Next actually, it said on my hand Hiko 69. And everybody's like, what does that mean? I was like, oh, if only you knew. But Hiko's kind of like my character in Gunslinger Girl. Like, you knew my character was going to get shot in the face because it's in the trailer. So it's like, oh, you know, my guy's not going to make it. It's like, I'm sorry. In the trailer, that's the last thing you see in the trailer, and you're, like, oh, like I guess Emilio doesn't make it. But Bund is neat, and I defend Bund, but I know Bund is going to upset a lot of people, and that's just storyteller's perspective. It's just a different way of telling a story. I'm by no means, I'm the guy that did the con safety panel, so I'm in no way encouraging any kind of diaper sniper activity or anything like that. It's anime, and anime tells a weird story sometimes, so I support that. But yeah, but that's my, wow, there's a lot of, like, is it over? Am I done? Or do we still have time? What time is it over? 4? Crap. Is somebody in here right after me? Okay, so I'll get these questions. These will be the last questions, and then we'll be ready to go. If any of you need to do anything, like if you're trying to get to the dealer's room, go. I won't give you a hard time. This is the one time I won't go, oh, okay, bye. But I'll see you guys tonight, by the way. Anybody leaving now? Okay, so your question.
Last thing, your hair is awesome.
Oh, thank you. I abuse it quite a bit to make it look this way. There's a guy, he's not in this panel, but there's a guy running around with a Parliament shirt on with real curly hair. That's what my hair looks like naturally. If I didn't do anything to my hair, that's what my hair looks like. Super curly and super jet black. Yeah.
Okay, I kind of thought of this when you were talking about the whole, when you're doing the commentary for the Oron thing. I want to know if you could tell your Yowie story about when the mom didn't know what it meant.
Well, I kind of did, but because this is an all ages panel, I really shouldn't do what I did there. You can look at me and tell I don't always make the right decision about what to say when. And unfortunately, I was asked to explain what Yowie was in a crowd full of parents and children. Yeah. So, and I made it sound like a computer show. I was like, well, in graphic depictions of love, sometimes there are multiple configurations. Like, so it sounds like a computer setup. I can't do what I did with my hands because that's what makes it so vulgar. But I really didn't even mean to. It was just me like talking with my hands. It was like when two boys love each other, it's Yowie, and when two girls love each other, it's Yuri. And he said, and when it's a whole room full of schoolgirls and a tentacle monster, then that's a hentai. Like, that was a cute way to wrap it up, and the woman was just like super twisted mad, and like she ripped some badge off of her jacket, and like her daughter's like mad at me. So I I probably got this child beaten and grounded or whatever. And when I asked her what she thought it meant, she said, it still makes me laugh. She said her daughter said it stood for young, attractive, outgoing intellectuals. She made it into like a smart, cute girls club and like a Mensa for women. So it was really funny. But that's actually the basis for my panel called "What's Yowie Have to Do with That?" It's a panel. It's really not a Yowie panel. It's a panel about Yowie fandom and whether or not even if I was offended by Yowie, look at the shows I'm in. I'm married to Yowie fandom, whether I like it or not. So luckily I have no problems with it, obviously. But it's a panel about that. It's about Yowie fandom and so the weird things that come along with it and whatnot. But yeah, that's what happens. If you catch me in a hallway after the dance, I may show you what hand gestures I did. Just know I didn't mean to be offensive. Like I was just trying to answer the question. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last question.
Actually, I just want to compliment you.
Oh my gosh.
When I was watching Big Blind Up, my sister made I thought you did an excellent job as always.
Thank you.
Like,
I love
when my sister was explaining the show to me and explaining your character, I was like, what? How can you do a character like that? And then, like, He's always yelling at me, Hashi.
Oh my gosh,
Always.
I got so mad. I even asked my my director, I was like, is he ever going to be a nice guy? Especially when they were at his birthday and he was yelling at him for practicing too much. I'm like, lighten up, dude. Like,